Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Coalition Review Cast, TV Cast, Stuff Cast. I am your host, Dana Abercrombie, and I am joined by Mr. Danny Martinez. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I am very good too. It is a pleasure to see you again. So we will be talking about Secret Level, which is an Amazon Prime or Prime Video series that has aired. We have had the aeration. I think all 15 episodes have aired. This was a series that I felt was not strongly promoted. And I only discovered this during New York Comic Con when I had like maybe 2 hours of nothing to do and was like, come join us for Secret Level. And I'm like, what is the Secret Level? Like, I didn't know. I was like, you want me to play some video games? Am I capturing footage? And lo and behold, I was behind a bunch of gamer bros. Love the gamer bros. And it was like, oh my God, Secret Level. This is going to be amazing. And I'm like, what the hell are y'all talking about? And I was introduced to what I thought, in my opinion, was a wonderful companion series to around 15 or so different video games. We have also on the coalition.com and on the Coalition website, YouTube page, entertainment YouTube page, we have an interview with the creator and the executive producer of Secret Level, kind of breaking everything down. And we will even have more information from the producer and the creator, Tim Miller and Dave, about what they all plan for this series. And it was renewed for a season 2. Which did a really good job for a series that has literally, I feel, hardly any promotion. Amazon Prime, please work on that because we can have budgets for Lord of the Rings of Power that nobody asked for 100 million or so, but we cannot have a budget for marketing for this, knowing that gamers are a huge part of the landscape that is America and Earth. I have done enough rambling. I am joined by Mr. Danny Martinez. How are you doing, good sir?
Not just Earth. Gaming is universal now. I'm sure the aliens play too.
The drones in New Jersey are playing Warhammer. Okay? You can look out the window right now and see them on the Pac-Mans.
Oh God, that reminds me of what was that old movie with Adam Sandler where they sent out like video game stuff in space? Pixels, yeah, and then they ended up invading us based off video game stuff. That'll be us in the future, I'm sure. But
a great time.
You're right about the marketing, though. The marketing was actually really bad. I remember watching the trailer for it, and I didn't know what it was either. And thanks to social media, I had to find out through them, like Twitter and YouTube and all that, to find out what this really was. And it was, people compared it to Love, Death, and Robots that's on Netflix. So I was like excited. I was like, oh, finally we're getting some interesting concepts and ideas, and maybe it's something that can push gaming entertainment to another medium, because, you know, even though we have movies and TV shows, I don't think we have enough. Well, I guess not enough TV shows, more movies and such. But yeah, this was exciting for me, and I like some of the stuff. I know we'll get to a lot of the each and every episode, but I liked a lot of the stuff and disliked more than I liked some of the stuff. But that's mostly because a lot of the stuff that they decided on making an episode about was mostly just because I'm either not a fan, like as in I'm not familiar with it, or just very confused. So I know we'll get more into deeper detail after that.
Well, you are old. You do confuse easily. It is okay, Grandpa.
Very, very.
We'll get there.
Where am I?
What is life? But no, I kind of have to agree. There were some hits and misses. There were some things that I wasn't fully aware of. But for me, I was able to then take that and see, what did you present to me as just a show where I don't have to understand and know every character, played every video game. So how were you storyline-wise? Did you pull me in? And I guess we'll discuss that as we continue with the conversation. But as I stated, there were 15 episodes. First one was Armored Core. Then we had Concord, which elicited a lot of emotional responses and almost a fight. They were fighting for their lives. Why did you include Concord? But they had Concord in there. Crossfire, Dungeons and Dragons, Exodus, Honor of Kings, Mega Man, New World, The Outer Worlds 2, Pac-Man, Shadow Liberis, PlayStation, which was just like an ode to PlayStation, Sifu, Spelunky, Unreal Tournament, and Warhammer 4000 Space Marine DOS. So I wanted to know right off the bat, what were some of the standouts for you where you was like, oh, my heart, it exploded?
Man, honestly, all right, so I'm a huge Sifu fan. So Sifu was probably one of my favorites out there, but something that really, really got to me that was such a risk and such a different take on the franchise was Pac-Man. And even my friends, everyone that I talked to, they were just like, "What the fuck is this? Like, this is Pac-Man. This doesn't make sense to me." But they loved it. They praised it. Like, this is the types of risks that people want taken for the games that they love. And it may not be received well by everybody, but I thought it was a huge risk, and I want to see more Pac-Man now.
That was the only one that stood out. Was the
well, that was the one that stood out the most. But I mean, I love the. So to be honest, yes, I'm very disappointed about the failure of Concord, but the episode of Concord was very well done. I got really good like vibes of like Guardian of the Galaxy type things, and that's how the game was received when they would release gameplay trailers and stuff. Was like it was like a rip-off, a knockoff of Guardians of the Galaxy, and that's exactly the feeling that I got for it, and I loved it. I loved that episode. I love the Spelunky episode. I'm a Spelunky fan as well. Mega Man, I'm a huge fan of Mega Man, but I wasn't crazy about this episode just because it's not something. It's stuff that we've already seen in game. Like it's nothing that expands anything. It's nothing that changes anything. It doesn't take any risks. It's pretty much just an animated origin story of Rockman. In the Outer Worlds stood out to me too. I played the game very briefly, not too deep into, so I don't know if these characters are like canon to the game, but I love the story of Outer Worlds as well, with the man trying to pursue the woman and pretty much giving up everything for her.
Yeah, so I kind of have to agree with what you said as well. As someone who has played video games before, used to be a gaming journalist. It took me back. And then as not being a game journalist focusing on entertainment, there was like some recent stuff where I was like, all I know is the downfall of Concord. I don't know the story itself. But yeah, for me, what stood out the most, honestly, is that Pac-Man. And that was like the first episode. I was like, I'm watching this one. Because I've heard nothing but like oohs and ahs and and I was like, what is this? And I thought it was very smart. I think they took something that was very literal and then made it very horrific. And I love the idea, like, this is a literal Pac-Man. You have to eat. And then it showed like the globe and the gold. I was like, what is going on? And it was bloody, the pellets. Yeah. And I'm like, wait, no, the ghost. This makes sense. But it's horrifying, but it's beautiful. The one, I think Outer Worlds was the one with Arnold Schwarzenegger, right?
Outer Worlds.
No, that was
New World.
That was New World. Sorry.
Funny you mentioned that. That's actually another one that stood out for me. But I didn't realize that was Arnold until halfway through it when he started to do some Arnold-isms, is what you call it, like just like his grunts and his moans and his started to hear that. That's when I was like, is that Arnold? He's doing such a good job.
Yeah, and then Sifu stood out not only for its story but the design. It was like, oh, this is gorgeous. And I loved, for me, how they made sure each episode didn't look the same. It was in honor of the video game. And I just love how they paid that much attention to the details. Because it's easy to like, oh, let's just make everything look alike. Here's the story, have fun. But they put in that detail to give us a different experience and to create different worlds. So I truly appreciate that. And then, of course, the Keanu of it all. You know, Keanu. I say Keanu on purpose. I know his name is Keanu. But Keanu Reeves is, congratulations to him. He was in the Outer Worlds one. He is having a darn good time because he was just in Shadow, which go see. He was Shadow in Sonic 3, which everyone should go see, which
He's
is
getting his
another
hand in a
video
lot
game.
of a lot. He's gaming in a lot. He's doing a lot of gaming stuff.
A lot of gaming stuff. So there you go, right there. So then, as we stated before, there was 15 episodes. Let's talk about what we did not like per se. You talked about how you didn't really care for some of them. Was there something that was completely, missed the mark for you, and you're like, this doesn't even work as a regular just project on TV?
Well, so I mentioned Mega Man already, and it's not to say that this wouldn't make like a good series or something. It's just the episode itself was nothing special, and it didn't bring anything new to what we already know about like the franchise at all. Like it was really just an origin story that we all already pretty much know for the most part. Obviously, everyone has their own interpretations of it, and this is just one of them. But the two come to mind that really just I zoned out. I ADD'd and did not pay no mind to it. Was pretty much Exodus, which was a sci-fi one, little space sci-fi one, and Honor of Kings was another one. I think that was towards the end. I think it was like the second to last one. That one was like a boring, just I don't know. It's just nothing to say about it. There's nothing that stood out. It felt very generic. It was nothing that you can't play from 500 other titles, which is why the games and the episodes of like the Outer Worlds and Armored Core, Unreal Tournament, those are very unique settings and stories, and that's why they stand out more. So those two particularly didn't stand out for me. I will also say I didn't enjoy Warhammer 40K one episode, and not because it wasn't a badass episode. It was a badass episode, but because the lore and story and Warhammer, mind you, Warhammer has been around for decades, like just as long as D&D. It used to be a tabletop game, and then they made it into books and then video games, and now it's really ingrained in pop culture now. But watching this episode, I had no freaking clue what was going on because there's so much deep lore into it involved. I don't know who this character is. I don't know what's going on. I don't know who these enemies are. I don't know why there's a priest that came out of a freaking coffin and he's praying now and they're trying to destroy the statue. So I was like, I don't know what's going on with any of this. Well, who doesn't love Keanu?
That's Keanu. That's the wrong photo.
But I enjoyed the episode for what it was, with the action and the acting and all that stuff. But story-wise, I was completely lost.
Yeah, there I completely agree. Like there was I think it was the first one that started that was about kind of, they was in the middle of a war. And it was a Dungeons and Dragons one. I am not a Dungeons and Dragons knower. But I found it very intriguing. But I was like, I'm completely lost. It did feel like it was pieces of a movie. Like I walked into something that was already happening, and I kind of wish that I had more information. Now, for those who are deeply invested, like you are, with your role playings and things, I'm pretty sure you would have had a better appreciation for it. Than say me.
Definitely.
Because I was like, I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, so the great thing with Dungeons and Dragons though is that every story is different. Like there's no really any specific story or plot lines to follow in D&D. There's a lot of like little things, like certain characters that you can meet, because there's a lot of different adventure campaigns that you can play with, and they'll add those characters onto there. So there's nothing like that in that first episode. It was really just the essence of Dungeons and Dragons, which is you pick a character class and you fight as that character class. So you had a bunch of these character classes in the game, and some will probably like the monk, some will probably like the wizard, some will probably like that. I think it was a druid. I can't remember, but you had the paladin right there. Yep. So I appreciate the throwbacks and the hints and nods to like the essence of Dungeons and Dragons. There wasn't really much that you needed to know about this episode.
Yeah. I appreciated the art for me. I think these details are just scrumptious. And the facial expressions that they did, and this look at and the lighting itself, like that's just delicious to me. So I really did appreciate that part. I kind of wanted to move on to kind of the big one I think we both loved was Sifu, because that was a story. And I loved how you had to really pay attention to this to kind of understand what was going on with Sifu. So kind of can you talk about because the story, because you played Sifu, you would know longer than, you know, the length of him training to kill these people.
Well, so here's the
why
funny
that
part.
long?
Here's the funny part about it. It wasn't really that long. So there's a game mechanic in this game, and it has been done before very, very lightly in maybe one or two other games in the past, but Sifu really brought it out there. And well, Sifu is a brawler game. You just go down hallways and you're beating up people, and you start off that young. You start off as this teenager. He's avenging his teacher's death by the hands of a group of people. And the game mechanic is that he carries this amulet, and you see it in the show. And every time you die, you grow a little bit more powerful and more knowledgeable, picking out new skills or powers or whatever it may be, but you age. So you come back and you age, but you're still continuing on your mission. So what I like about this show is that you didn't have to know any of that, but you still got that feeling of that sacrifice of just like this man is doing whatever it takes, regardless of how old he's getting. He's continuing on trying to stop whatever it is he's trying to do. But for me, knowing this is a very short version pretty much of the game itself, and I was left wanting more. Like I appreciate how they added in a bit of him eating at the dumpling shop, and this isn't a character, by the way, from the game, so it was interesting just for her and him to kind of interact, and then towards the end, he's an old man, and she still kind of knows, you know, she still understood what it is that he was doing. So I really like that they introduced that mechanic on the show as well, of him aging, but still kind of knowing what he knows how to like kick ass pretty much still.
He was kicking something.
Yeah.
This was amazing. And I did like that relationship between her and him. And like she knew, and she was like, but she didn't know. Because she was like, oh, grandfather.
Yeah.
But I think deep down she knew, and she was like, you know what? I'm gonna mind my business and drink my water and make these dumplings. and I really kind of did appreciate that. It was really nice. I don't think I would sacrifice my age like that from a teacher. But God bless teachers. Good for them. So then moving on, we had the New World, which is not Outer World, but this was the New World, which was this is the one with Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Yes.
This is not Arnold Schwarzenegger.
It was.
No, it wasn't.
Yeah.
No, New World is not Arnold Schwarzenegger.
With the king. That's with the king. Yeah.
You're right. My notes are messed up. See, when you do New World and Outer World, I'm dyslexic. Yeah. I'm confused. This was freaking hilarious.
Yeah.
This was just so dumb that I loved every single part of this. You get this king, he arrives to this new world, he cannot die. And I don't think anyone can die. And he's trying to take over this, not even an empire, it's just an island of maybe a handful of people. And the king is already there, and he's legit just sick of everything. And the comedy that they brought in, mixed in with Arnold Schwarzenegger's natural humor. I just want him to do more voiceovers. So you've played the story, I am going to assume. How did you feel storyline-wise that it matched up with the feel of the video game?
It definitely didn't feel that way. New World is a bit more of a serious, not really serious. It's hard to say. It doesn't take itself seriously like kind of Lord of the Rings, but it's still a fantasy type. It's an MMO, so you're kind of just out there exploring things. There's really not much going on. I don't know too much of the story, but the world and everything was still done very well, just like the game. I love the comical aspect of it. I also appreciate it was pretty much in a sense, it was still that had the essence of the video game because, of course, it's an MMO. So you're playing online. You die, you pretty much just get resurrected again, and then you continue on trying to do missions to try to get stronger and stronger, and then you fight more bigger, badder people and more evil people and stuff. And that's pretty much what happened with Arnold, is that like he kept on losing, fighting the big bad boss. Big bad boss. He wasn't a bad guy, but you get what I mean. And he kept failing. So he's like, okay, let me do something else. Let me go somewhere else and try to get stronger. So he began to do that, and he finally, became this massive evil villain type dude, and he still failed. And it was very well done, and I loved the end of it. It was still like very heartwarming at the end of it afterwards. Yeah, Arnold needs to do more voice acting. That was hilarious.
He does. I do wish that they would, because they did mention that the king was terrible. They're like, he's a terrible king. This is just why I wish it was like a full length. Give me an hour.
Yeah.
Even. I'm not even asking for like 2 hours. Give me an hour. Explain to me how the king was terrible. Explain to me the lore of the land. Why didn't he die? Why didn't the main guy was Alistrom? Am I pronouncing that right? Elstrom?
I can't remember.
You can't remember, but the main dude was also a king. From his land.
Yes.
And the fact that he was like, I'm going to, conquer this land. The king is terrible. I would have loved to know why. I would have loved to know why you cannot die. Why did he live and the rest of his crew members died? Like, there's so many questions. And his friend lived. And his friend was like, can we just be friends? Can we just hang out and be normal people? And like, he kind of realized at the end, I'm all alone. I miss my fun. I miss my body. And it's like, let's just be friends and live on this island together. And I did love that. And I love the fact that the king that was already there was like, here, just take the crown.
Just take it. And he had a whole chest full of them.
He had a whole chest. It's like, it just means literally nothing to me. I'm wondering, has there been someone who succeeded in killing him? And of course you can't die, but still, what was Zima's story that was going on? Then it was that blacksmith, that woman that was there. I want to know the relationship with her. They were just little tiny parts that I really wish that we could have just learned about. And the dude got his arm. Like, he finally learned to be a blacksmith and was like, to destroy the king. And was like, I want to make you an arm. And I was like, I'm crying. This was beautiful. And I just loved every single thing about that. So good job, Arnold. He needs more voiceovers and more comedies. I miss Juniors. Bring back Juniors.
I miss Twins.
We were supposed to get a sequel. Was it Twins or was it Junior?
No, he did Junior also.
So
Junior was when Junior? Was it Junior? I think a Junior was the one when he was pregnant.
No, wait.
Or was it like Mr. Mom? No, Mr. Mom was Hulk Hogan. So I know Junior was one where Arnold was pregnant, but he was a man. Twins was the one with Danny DeVito.
Yeah,
he's done quite a few, but it's been a while.
I need to watch that. I don't even know if they do it on streaming. Everything's so hard to find, but that's incredible. I think people would be up in arms if that came out today, but I would love it. Let's watch that again. So then kind of going into the next one would be Unreal Tournament. So about robots and human masters and robot abuse, and this was really serious. How did you like this structure and taking it from such a funny place where we just left off to now? This is like the rise of robots.
Yeah.
It was serious.
So I know there's lore and story with Unreal, but me growing up playing that game, that whole series, I never paid attention to it because it's mostly just a multiplayer shooter game. So you're just killing people, whether it be the PC or other people from somewhere else down the street or wherever playing online. So like it's just player versus player. So it's just people killing each other. So I really liked that they did some story into this, and I assume that it's accurate from the lore. I have no clue, but from what I took from it is that it was a very good story about revolution and slavery and rising up from your oppressors and things like that. So I think that was really good. Kind of like I guess you could say like Chappie or District 9, like those type of stories. of people rising above of that kind of stuff. So rising above power. So I enjoyed it for that reason, and the action was pretty good too.
Yeah, I thought it was really good. And, you know, we have seen stories of robots, as you stated before, robots rise against humans. But what I really did like that is just how it just felt different. Like, to me, I don't have a problem if we've seen stories before. It's how you present it to me. And so with this, I thought this was really good. And the fact that we were only getting the snippet, so it doesn't have to be long and drawn out. So the fact that we got one that I wish was longer, and this one I thought was like kind of the great length. I'm not sure how you felt about that length, but I did like that idea of, you know, robots studying humans and humans having to go back and study robots to kind of defeat each other and see what each other's weaknesses are. I thought was really smart. And it was kind of like a fighting tournament that I think is going to predict the future. This is how it is. Aliens, help us. I don't know. But no, I really did like that aspect. And, you know, it did have the point of like, you know, they're building themselves up to, I don't know how to pronounce it, but it's X-A-N. So Zan, I'm dyslexic.
Yeah,
so I'm going to say Zan.
Zan, yes.
To like, it was Zan. They ended up becoming, the robots ended up becoming one, Zan. And how, you know, they're trying to, the humans are trying to execute Zan. But then Zan uses their control to kill the guards. And they started their rebellion. And the audience just kind of like watching the whole thing. It's like, yeah. And in a way, it's like an interesting aspect of we're cheering on our own demise. We want to see the rise of robots. But at the same time, we're just, you know, cheering our eventual demise. So yay AI! I
we'll get there.
It.
We'll get there eventually.
We'll get there. We got the what they said, aliens in the oceans. Yeah. So something's coming between the AI and the aliens.
As long as I don't have to go to work the next day.
Ciao. Hilarious. Then moving on with that, we have your absolute favorite of all favorite. I know it is Henry Cavill's favorite.
Oh yeah.
People who don't know, for the girlies, remember when he was putting together his computer during the pandemic? He's a big Warhammer fan. He was playing Warhammer.
That video had me flustered.
It had him flustered. And still, I know it's been greenlit, and I know it's been going on for some years now, but we are getting a Warhammer series. I know, especially executive produced by Mr. Henry Cavill. I do not know if it will star Henry Cavill, but we are getting a series, fingers crossed, within the next 15 years. So, fingers crossed with that. What were your immediate thoughts? Because you are the Warhammer head.
So I played the games, and that's as far as it's gone. I played a couple of the games before. So the main character, wow, I can't remember that. I think it was Titus. He was the main character on the show, and he's a character in the games as well. That's all I pretty much know about it. The rest of it, I just enjoyed the ride. I enjoyed all the action. For those people, like for what I can explain from what's going on is that the Warhammer universe is pretty much a universe. It's not like our own. It's literally a universe of many different species and many different species of human, actually. And it's just an eternal fight. There's eternal war going on the entire universe, and they all kind of do this on purpose to kind of like become more stronger and powerful. Some of them to please gods, some of them for their own reasons or whatever. So these soldiers that you see on the show, they're genetically altered humans to be able to handle those giant mech suits. And they're just the most badass of badass humans you can possibly find in order to do what is that you need to do, and mostly it's just to destroy shit and succeed in the mission. And that's exactly what you saw in here. It's pretty much just a bunch of badass soldiers fighting things and destroying stuff without practically flinching the entire time up until the end, when you get to what it seems like the final boss, and they fight this weird thing. I have no idea what it is, but it almost killed them all. And I don't.
But he was running into the crowd like, you know, screw you. We all dying today.
I just don't know what happened towards the end, but I still enjoyed it for what it was. I understand the very basics of the lore, but as just a novice viewer, it was still a really fun watch, and I wish there was more.
Right. I did love this one, and I love the concept of using your fear against you. I thought that was, I don't know if that's part of the lore in the video game, but to me that was so lovely and refreshing, and to see kind of these characters just emote such fear, and to kill them off one by one, that's what is that? A psychological thriller to me. So I did love that, and I love like the kind of the ending where it's like Titus is like, I'm taking you all with me. We're not over yet. And even if he did die, it was like, this is glorious.
Yeah.
So I really did. He had his glorious purpose. So I did like that. And I did love the fact that, you know, they created this world within a world. Now, I do kind of wondering if, not this, but overall we are going to get the Warhammer TV series eventually, maybe, who knows. Will it be as impactful, not only just impactful, but the look, the design, you know, the emotion, the money. And I'm just afraid they don't start changing things and we end up with a Halo, like with the dude, Master Chief's, you know, the helmet is off the whole time.
Well, I mean, Henry Cavill, this is what we love about him, is that he's a passionate gamer. Like, he wants things to be done the right way. He pushed a lot of buttons, and a lot of influence for that matter, trying to get The Witcher right. I know he's trying to make sure he does the Highlander justice whenever that movie comes out, because he's a fan of that. And then gaming wise, also for Warhammer, I know he's going to hand his hand in it to a point where it's going to piss people off because they want to make changes. But he's like, no, that's not how the lore is. It's written this way, and it's got to be done this way. And I would love that for him. I hope they don't overspend and get overzealous with the budget.
That is true. Yeah. That is very, very true. We'll have to see. So we kind of talked about Pac-Man, and we talked about how amazing and crazy it was. So then let's kind of talk about Crossfire. You remember Crossfire, the one with the 2 soldiers in the abandoned city?
Didn't care for
Did
that
you like
one.
that? She just like, no.
It's just another military shooter thing, and it was just generic and boring. And I've seen 5 million other of those like TV shows and movies. I've played 5 million of those video games, and it's just I saw nothing special about this episode.
Yeesh. That's from Warhammer. That's the wrong one. But my goodness. So it was kind of, you know, generical. In a way, I just wish we kind of got Rainbow Six instead, because that would have been amazing.
Yeah, like Ghost Recon.
We're still owed that. We're owed something. So, but we didn't get that. So then, kind of moving on from that one, because you was like, oh hell no, we're not talking about that. Armored Core, which started at the bar. What are your thoughts on that? And
I didn't know Keanu was in it until this episode showed up. Keanu's going to be Keanu. I don't think people are going to hate me for saying this, but I don't think Keanu has the biggest range of acting in his career. I think he's a great actor for playing one very stoic, very like monotone, very serious type of person. I think there was only one movie that comes, well, I guess Bill and Ted you could say also, but that was decades ago. But
he was young.
But the only other movie is when he played himself, an exaggerated version of himself. Not was it Crazy? No, not Crazy Rich Asians.
He was in Crazy Rich Asians?
No, it wasn't that one. No, it wasn't that one. But
you're thinking of Breathless.
No, I can't remember.
He was like, you're breathless.
It's when he's sitting at a dinner table and he's eating steak, but he's listening to the cow being slaughtered in his headphones, and he's like crying because he's eating the cow, but he's also enjoying it. I can't remember the name of the movie. We'll find it at some point. But
wait, now I want to know. What was this?
Oh, geez. They're going to be looking at Keanu.
Wait, no, because now that's bothering me.
I'm going to look it up. It was in Sad Keanu.
He was crying?
Yeah. Sad
Always
Keanu.
Be My Maybe?
Yes, that was the one.
Always That's when I said maybe. You're breathless. I was like, you're breathless.
Oh, I didn't hear that. I didn't get that. Yeah, no. Always Be My Maybe.
That was right before he did another video game. Because that one that failed, Cyberpunk.
Yes, the video game. Yeah, it was. So those were surprising characters that he he was actually fairly entertaining with that. And no, he's entertaining in every single one of his roles. I'm not saying he's a bad actor at all. I'm just saying he's just very like one-dimensional. So when he was this character, when he was this character in Armored Core, I was just like, oh, it's just more of Keanu. Okay. But I started to enjoy it more and more because of the action and just like the mech fighting and everything that was very well done. So I kind of feel like this episode could have done well without Keanu. Keanu kind of just added that little extra spice to it because, you know, of his star power and everything. So it was nice to give us a little bit of Keanu, but it didn't matter if he was in this episode or not. I enjoyed the episode regardless with the whole Armored Core thing. I like a bit of mech fighting every now and then.
I liked it. I like the ego that we have at the end where it's like, you know, no one is like me. Mm-hmm. So we did have story. I'm going to say something even I'm going to like slap myself for. I agree with you in terms of Keanu Reeves, but he's one of those rare actors where he can play himself and it still works.
And it still
like
does well.
Literally, it does well. He was the same in Sonic 3 as he was, you know, kind of in this. And I'm pretty sure in Cyberpunk. So he has that thing, but he has that natural charisma where it's like, it works. Mm-hmm. And I think that's a very rare gift. And you have to be really well cast because you know exactly what you're getting, but is that what you want? And that's why I think it worked for this. And it wasn't something where it was like, it required much from him. So that's why I think it kind of worked with it. But I did love kind of going back again with the design. Yes, everyone was just, you know, in their suits and everything, but I like the design of it. I like the look because like that looks menacing. So I did like that part. I like the you know, that the pilots are kind of talking with each other. And I did like kind of like I said at the end, it was a simple thing of ego, where it's like, it's just me. So that was kind of cool. And I liked it. I think that it was a perfect length. I don't think we had to know anything else about it, but it worked. So then kind of moving on from that, we have the Outer Worlds, which is not the New Worlds, but the Outer Worlds, the company we keep. And this one was about an orphan with a backpack. Well, not a backpack, a backwater planet. I can't read. What were your thoughts on that?
So I played Outer Worlds very briefly. I didn't get into the game very much. I love the aesthetics of the game and the graphics and everything. So I don't know too much of the story. Sorry. I know there is a fan base for it. So good on you guys if you enjoy the game. I'm jealous because I couldn't get into it. But this episode very much got that aesthetic right. It felt very much like the game. Again, since I don't know the characters that well, I don't know if these characters were in the game at all, but I was very much invested in this motivation that this guy had for trying to find his woman. And she didn't even know she was his woman, but he pursued her and he did everything as, you know, to try to find her again. And he does. And then it's sad because she sees him as this lowly thing now. And now you're contemplating, you know, what did I do with my life? What should I do with my life now? Because now that I've achieved my goal, I'm nothing now. Like, what does that mean for me? And I guess I think everybody can relate to that in some sense. So, which is kind of nice. It doesn't have to necessarily, you don't have to necessarily relate to the love story part of it, but just his motivations and what he put himself through and the corporations that will literally take an arm and a leg to make money. You know, there's so much of it that you could relate to. There's nothing about this that someone can't relate to.
What is interesting that I liked about it was, you know, how it shows how we change. We know someone and we have that image of them in our heads when we're little. Yeah. So like I grew up with you. You saved my life. You helped me. And so I always have that image of you. And then when they meet again and she's an adult and she's confronting him, or he's confronting her, she's like, you think I'm a bad person, don't you? And it's kind of like a reflection where she's regretting everything that she is. But I'm wondering, is she regretting it for him? or is she regretting it for herself?
Right.
Because he has such disappointment. He's like, oh, look what you've become. And so I really did like how they played that out. And I thought it was really bittersweet. So it was kind of sad to me. And it's kind of like holding on to that dream and that hope. And I'm kind of wondering throughout his life, was her or the image or the idea of her was the one that, like, you know, kept him alive and kept him going through all of the mess that he really shouldn't have gone through.
Mm-hmm.
And it does show the power of corporations. And, you know, that's very reflective of today, where, you know, people are doing something strange for a little change, and that change is just to pay the bills and survive. So it was kind of sad. Oh my God. Sadness. But yeah, I kind of liked it as well. So I can't find any photos. Here we go. That should be it. Nope, it's not showing up. So that's not it. I tried. But I did kind of like it. And I thought that it was that is definitely not it either. But I did like it. And I thought it was lovely. And then kind of going off of Mega Man, neither of us really liked. I thought it was okay. I really didn't think that it was something that was innovative, respectfully. I'm sorry. But I thought it was very cute. It worked as, like, you know, if you wanted to throw something on for like 4 minutes because you got something to do, like, it made for a great commercial break. So I did like that aspect. I did like the relationship between the boy and the doctor.
Yeah.
I thought that was nice.
Yeah.
So I thought that they did a really good job with that aspect, even though it was something that was very quick and fleeting. This was part of the shorter episodes, so I do appreciate that. I thought it was a very fine line, and it just worked out okay. I don't know. Maybe if it was more like action, aside from like, oh no, the thing is going off while we're inside of the room. But if there was like more battle action and to see Mega Man being Mega, and it was like a little tiny Mega Boy, but to like see, you know, Mega Man, and would have been nice. So it was okay. So then moving on to Exodus Odyssey. Did you have any thoughts on that?
I don't even know what this game is. If it is a game. I don't know.
Yes, it's a game.
Nope.
Y'all,
Don't know
please
it.
direct your hate to him.
Like,
That
so,
is.
the story's not bad though. The story kind of got me. And I'm not saying it's compared to it at all, but it got me it made me feel the vibes of Interstellar. Kind of like the father traveling to kind of better his world, but his father's literally traveling, and he ends up, you know, aging differently from his daughter, and he comes back to try to save her and stuff like that. He does things in the process of trying to save his daughter. So that was nice. It was a nice story. I just if it's game wise, I have no clue what's going on. But as the story itself, I think it had a very cool story, and the way it ended was great. It didn't like leave me wanting more. I think it felt good closure towards the ending. I was kind of just like, oh, that was good, that was entertaining, and then kind of just left it at that.
The fact that you invoked Interstellar, knowing darn well it wasn't really Interstellar or the vibes of Interstellar, is just shameful. That is one of the greatest masterpieces of the masterpiece.
I love that movie. Yeah. Well, I love anything.
And you're comparing it to this, you know. So with all due respect, but no. But it was cute. I did like the idea of the space travel. I did like the father-daughter aspect of it. I like the fact of aging and, you know, time escaping us. And I you know, that was really nice. And, you know, the whole thing of wanting to do things for his daughter, I kind of wondered if he was being a little too selfish.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's kind of like the big thing. It's like, are you being a little too selfish right now? Which you could argue is a lot to do with, you know, stories about space travel. We're gonna go save the Earth, okay, but you're sacrificing our relationship. Yeah. But it's like, oh, but you'll be alive, yes, and then she's dead. So I can, in a way, kind of see the Interstellar part, because she was like an old lady when she treated him when he came back to Earth, and then I think she died. Oh, that was such a good movie. Such a good movie. But yeah, I completely kind of agree. And then kind of to keep this moving, we had Spelunky. Splunky. What are
Yeah.
your Splunky ideas of the Splunkations?
It was a fun, cartoony, animated thing. I think it
Yeah.
felt very good with the aesthetic of a 2D, very colorful, animated video game. So like the show was done, the episode was done very well. I really loved the death loop that she's stuck in, just like the other character. Both characters are stuck in a death loop, and that's pretty much the game as well. Is that you're just trying and trying and trying, and as you continue on, you get smarter about things, you get stronger about things, you know where things are and what's going to happen. So you learn to avoid them, and you learn the map a little bit more. And the deeper you go, the harder it gets. And it was all very much the spirit of the game, which I really appreciated. So it was a fun episode that I enjoyed.
Yes, I actually liked it. I thought it was very fun. It was very cute and it was very quirky. I like the fact that you kind of kept learning as more as you died. And in that way, it reminded me of, was that Outer Worlds? The one with Arnold Schwarzenegger. I'm going to forever mix
New
up
Worlds.
these two titles.
Yeah, New Worlds.
New Worlds. I'm going to that's just my thing. I'm going to mix them up. Have a world in there. I'm going to put it that. So in a way, it kind of reminded me of New Worlds in terms of, you keep dying, but you're learning. Even though it took him a much longer time and he was dumb. But eventually they got to that nice sweet part. Except for this girl, she never really escaped. But I did like the fact that she was learning from her experience and that it was really fun. And I liked how it looked. It was a nice, fun look about it. I felt it was something that was one of those shorts that you can find. Bring back Nickelodeon. Like, old-fashioned Nickelodeon channel. I kind of felt that way. And so I really had a great time with it. And it was very simple. And I kind of liked how, it was a weird mix between she's learning from death, but at the same time, she's just kind of growing bored of it. So I liked that aspect of it. And she had her little friend there was Liz. And I liked their relationship as quick as it really was. But I thought it was cute. And, it worked for what it was. And I liked it. So then kind of moving on, I wanted to talk about the big baddie that for me, has to break this down. What the hell happened to Concord?
Concord. So right now, the gaming market is just saturated with live service games, like, just those online games that sell battle passes and season passes and microtransactions and DLCs constantly and unlocking stuff. It's just, it's ridiculous. So there are a few games out there that are popular, like there's games called Apex, there's Overwatch, and Concord, when a cinematic trailer was first released, people pretty much compared it to Overwatch. And that's pretty much what the game was. It was what they call a hero shooter. And when the game was being marketed, people were just like, they're burnt out by all of this pretty much. They're all just saying, oh, this is another Overwatch. It's just another hero shooter. It's just another this. It's just another that. I don't think it brings anything special. I think it's a ripoff of Guardians of the Galaxy or this or that. So people were kind of just fed up and they didn't really give it a chance. So eventually Sony still kept on marketing, but they eventually said, hey, this game you have to pay $40 for, and you still have to pay for whatever microtransactions it might involve, which will be maybe a season pass or battle pass or whatever you want to call it at this time. Mind you, these other games that I mentioned are free to play. You just have to pay for the season passes or whatever. So other people are just like, why are we paying $40 for a game we're unsure of when we can just already play what we're playing now? We have no interest in this game whatsoever that you're just clearly just trying to make a cash grab out of because that's what's popular right now. So a lot of people just didn't give it a chance. And Sony still decided to release the game, and less than 100 people were pretty much online daily playing the game, literally. So the game just eventually fizzled out. They weren't making any money. And I think after maybe 2 weeks or a month after the game was released, Sony's just like, we're taking back the game. We're taking it offline. We'll give everybody back a refund, and I guess we're done. So they just left it at that.
I'm muted. I am honestly very surprised about giving back their money. That's one thing that
So that means
corporations don't like to do.
Sony made $0 making this game now. They spent millions and millions of dollars. I think they spent 4 years developing the game, and now it's just dead.
So when it came to the microtransactions, is that the development or the developers or the studio's fault?
Well, you can't really tell unless someone blatantly says so. There's no way to really tell. Unless there's documentation, there's no way to tell. I, for one, personally would blame the studios. I would blame the upper management, because they're the ones that force upon certain features and certain things to get done in the game in order to implement and make more money out of it. Most developers that I've ever known or have ever seen or have ever read interviews about, they're just passionate about making a game. That's all they want to do, is make a game. They don't care about making extra money. They don't care about the game making extra money. They just want to make their money while making a very good game. And so majority of the time, you're not going to see developers be like, oh, let's try to fit some season pass content in here to try to make them extra money. It's usually the upper management that wants that stuff, the investors and the publishers. So I blame them.
Yeesh. So then with that being said, do you feel that this captured the spirit of what Concord could have been?
Absolutely.
Had the microtransactions not been a mess?
100%. Yeah. It was comical while still being fun, and everybody meshed well together. I think they had very interesting characters, and the same thing goes towards, these weren't even some of the characters that were in this game, by the way, or in the cinematic marketing and all that stuff. These are a couple of them were new characters that I hadn't seen yet. So, but the world and just the characters and everything, I think it was all great. This would have been a great movie or a television show.
Oh, wow. That'd have been interesting. A successful television show based off of a failed game. Mm-hmm. Do you think that they can salvage Concord, the video game?
No, definitely not. I think if Sony sold it to someone, sure, maybe. If someone bought the rights and the assets and everything to try to revive it, sure. But I don't think that's going to happen at all. Sony lost way too much money, and I don't think anyone's going to be willing to pay that much.
Damn.
Especially for a new IP.
I guess.
Yeah.
Damn. God, it reminds me of the Suicide Squad. Except for that game was actually bad.
Yeah, and it's dead now too.
So many video games. Okay, so then kind of going into it, what are your thoughts on just the episode itself?
It was fun. It's just like I said, it was like watching a Guardians of the Galaxy movie or TV show episode, whatever. It was just fun. It was funny, good action, good acting, good aesthetic and art style and everything. I'm really sad that Concord failed the way it did. I wish they could have continued in some other format. This is a good episode.
Yeah, I completely agree that it was a great episode. I like the fact that we have different characters with that different personality. You know, that team up that this doesn't go together, but it ends up working out at the end of the day. I really did like the personality of it. It is kind of sad what happened with Concord itself, but that doesn't mean that it can't live on into something else. We've seen multiple times where you could, yep.
No, I was crossing my fingers.
Oh, I was like, he's shooting a gun in the air. Pow, pow. Blomblacott. But no. So fingers crossed. Who knows? This could actually be the success of Concord. And Sony is just looking ridiculous. This is how Sony gets their money back. Make a series and call it a day.
Yes.
But yeah, I think that it did work in regards to how it was in terms of the different characters and the location. I like how it looked. I liked how it was really funny. What I did love about this anthology as a whole is that, again, I kind of say nothing felt the same, and that is the point of an anthology. This felt like a really great moment in time, and I did really like that they had these characters. I didn't know if these were the original characters, but they created more or less an expanded version of the universe. I kind of do wonder, though, as Concord was failing, how was this being developed? Like, were they watching like, oh, there goes our video game, just go up in flames, as they're like creating this episode? That would have been really interesting.
Yeah.
To like,
and I think they have the balls for Sony to still even allow this to be put on the show. So Sony's just like, here, this is what you could have had, but you had to be stupid. So enjoy The Last of
Ooh.
Concord.
And I do know, like, people were angry because at New York Comic Con they were angry at Tim Miller and the creator,
Mm-hmm.
the executive producer. And I'm sitting here, I'm like, I don't know anything of what's going on, and I'm like, what did they do? Did they rob you? Did they call your mama a hoe? There were some tempers that were being filled, and like I said, they were fighting for their lives. Like, it's a good episode.
Yeah.
So yeah, so they're kind of moving on with that. We have Honor of Kings, The Way of Things. Were there any thoughts on this one? A lot of machines, a lot of technology in your gaming.
I don't know this game either. I never heard of it.
Okay.
But the story itself was interesting up until
Oh,
not up until, but when they started having this long dialogue between the kid and the robot. It was just a
yes.
long dialogue, and I zoned out. I honestly just zoned out. Like, it was just a bunch of philosophical mumbo jumbo, and they was just like, "What are you talking about? I have like what's now you're playing Chinese checkers or whatever it is that I don't know what the actual thing is, but like they're playing like chess pretty much, and I'm just like, I don't know what's going on. They're just talking a lot, and it's just a lot of philosophical nonsense, and I kind of completely lost interest. He did look badass in the end when he came out of the thing, but I was just like, I don't care. I didn't connect to this one at all.
Oh, I had the opposite effect. I like this because this was all kind of like about lore and like, are you willing to sacrifice yourself for your parents? And they had the whole thing with, you remember, there was a big giant earthquake, and then there was kind of like this big being, the demons was coming around. So I did like that story. I appreciate different lores. I'm not just a regular American who only likes American things. I like learning about different lores too, and learning about your traditions and your ancestorism.
They should have been playing American checkers.
They should have been playing that American checkers in there. Make it white.
Jeez.
Got all these DEI chips in my checkers. It's ridiculous. But no, I did kind of like that aspect of it. And I like the fact that, here are your parents, that they're dead, they decided to sacrifice themselves. So it comes with that whole little different realization and like that kind of sadness and weight that you're carrying, and realizing like your parents chose to sacrifice themselves. And then you also have to realize that the person that he's dealing with is very manipulative as well. So it's like, do I really even trust you? What's going on? And I think for me, that forced me to pay attention, while your ADHD was like, no. Mine was like, yeah.
Yeah,
So
it may not have been the fault of the show itself. Maybe it really was my ADHD just kicking in like hardcore.
That was your ADHD. That, and you're just like American. It was like, I can't deal with this mess in America. Yeah. So I did kind of like that part, and I thought that it was really beautiful, just the way how it looked and the designs and everything. They did work closely with the game developers, obviously, to get aspects right. So I did really like that. I like the fact that it broke the fourth wall in a way, and it spoke directly towards the camera at the very end.
Okay, I probably missed that part.
Remember? Yes, at the very last end, it broke the fourth wall. Search deep inside of your ADHD, but it broke the fourth wall. So I did like that part. So then kind of going on with that, then let's just talk about the next one, which is called Playtime. Playtime Fulfillment. That was the one about the delivery cyclist and how he's trying to make the delivery. You got to go on your deadlines. And he had the glasses, and it showed like the world. You remember how so the glasses? It's a game inside of the game.
Mm-hmm.
I did like aspects like that for a very quick second. It was a movie that was with Joseph Gordon-Levitt. I think it was called Delivery. I'm not sure, but he was a bicycle deliverist. And deliverist is not a word, but he drove a bicycle. Premium Rush.
I think it was. Oh yes, I do remember that. Yes.
This was over 10 years ago.
That. Yeah.
I only remember because they filmed it in front of my building.
They made bike riding delivery for like the most dangerous, badass job you could possibly have. I don't know how they did that.
it was like, oh, I could do this. This is so fun and carefree, and like people are dying, getting ran over. Oh, this is horrifying. But yeah, I kind of really like that. And then, it's all about a package. And I love me some mysterious packages. Where are we going today? What adventures is it going to be? Is it a drug lord? Is it a shootout? Is it a monster? So I kind of really like that. And I like the fact that she was kind of forced into doing that because she was like, no, I don't want this. And the dangerous life of delivery drivers. What were your thoughts on this world that they created?
I didn't understand what was going on until towards the end. Like, when it comes to like the game within a game type of thing, I really just thought like, okay, this is just our world, and our world has this technology now that they have VR and they kind of just live about their lives while they have the VR thing. So I didn't get it for a second, but I, as a gamer, what I appreciated about it is made it feel like Ready Player One. I've read the books, but I'm talking about specifically the movie. Like if you're watching the movie and you see all these little Easter eggs and cameos of things. So that was fun to watch, all these little cameos. And I'm a big Helldivers fan, so it was fun to see the Helldivers soldiers on there. And of course, other stuff like Shadow of the Colossus you saw on there. I don't know what else. I can't think of anything right now, but like there's a lot of cameos.
Big Little Planet.
Oh, Journey. Yeah. Oh, yeah, Big Little Planet. Yeah, that was on there too. Yeah, so there's a lot of Easter eggs. So that was kind of nice. I just enjoyed. I enjoyed the ride. For what it was. Pretty much watching like Ready Player One was. And then towards the end, that's when I got it. I was just like, oh, I get it now. This makes sense. That makes it even more interesting. Okay, cool. So my dumbass, it took me a while, but I got it though. I got there.
Okay, see, that's that American coming into you. It takes you a while to think things through. Yes. No, I love this because, as you stated, Ready Player One, the book was god awful. Sorry for me, but we didn't get Ready Player Two. I didn't like Ready Player One.
You did?
I read both. To reread it because I was young. Two was terrible. Two was the complete opposite of what one stood for.
Two.
Come on now.
I'm trying to remember how I felt about it because I remember telling my friend how I wasn't enjoying it as much as part one, but I can't remember my criticisms. I can't remember. I think my criticisms on it were just. I think it was just too much narration of like things going on. And not enough character development and things going on with the character. It's more of just like explaining where everything was going, what everything was doing, where everything was going, what everything looked like. And I was just like, there's nothing going on. Like, just get to the point. Just roll it on. Come on now. Like, you could have cut the book in half and still could have gotten the same message across.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so I completely agree. And so with this one, the fact that it was a world within a world, that was literally the PlayStation world.
Yeah.
I love this. And you had Kevin Hart, which I don't like, but I liked Kevin Hart in this. His daughter was in this. Christopher Judge was in this. I mean, come on, that voice. Was
he Kratos?
He was Kratos.
I don't even remember Kratos talk. No, I remember Kratos. I just don't remember him talking on the episode.
He may have sneezed. But he was Kratos.
Okay. That's enough.
Helldiver was in this. A bunch of Helldivers were in this. So I liked it. I thought it was very unique. And I'm just one of those corny, cheesy people who was like, Secret Level could just literally be a PlayStation world. And we just travel to different parts on the map. And that's how we introduced to the anthology. But I did love this. It felt like a love letter. And like you stated, Ready Player One, it felt like that love letter to like, here's gaming. And I wish it was a little bit long so we could just stay in that world a little bit longer, just because I like that so much. So that was just basically the PlayStation episode.
Yeah.
That I'm happy they kind of saved. That was the last one. I'm happy they saved that one for the last. To kind of like fully, in case this is what we're doing, this is the world that we created. Thank you, PlayStation. Thank you, gamers and developers. Not you studios, but thank you for doing this. So overall, I thought it was just really, really sweet. And delivery, what a great way to get around that world. And then change it to a motorcycle, which was like the PlayStation stuff. So I thought it was really cute. I liked it. So then I think that is kind of all of them we've touched upon. We didn't miss any big ones. No, we did everything. We talked about the horror that was Pac-Man. Jesus. Horrific. One more. But we are getting a season 2.
Yeah.
And so I just wanted to know, were there any games from anything, PC, PlayStation, old-fashioned Xbox, the good old X, that you wish that they include in next season?
I mean, they did a lot of, for me, in my opinion, a couple of obscure things I could have done without. Obviously, I explained what I'm a fan of and what I wasn't. So I would think like they could have added, and not even whether it be this season or for the next season, they could have added just something more well-known. A Legacy of Kain series, which is a beloved series back in the 90s, early 2000s. They could have done something like that. Even if you want to go like a military route and more grounded, realistic route, you could have done something like Splinter Cell. Splinter Cell series.
We're getting that.
Majorly. The movie?
That's the cartoon.
I didn't hear about a cartoon. I know they're working on a movie, and I heard they canceled that, which I was disappointed.
No, that's canceled. There's an animated. Is there not an animated? Did they cancel the animated one?
I didn't hear about that one yet.
Because I could have sure I saw an image.
I definitely would love a Destiny episode. I'm a huge Destiny fan. I think you guys can see it in the background, actually, my Destiny stuff. So I'm a huge Destiny fan. I would love a Destiny episode. Bungie had talked a long time ago of doing some other forms of media aside from video games with the Destiny franchise. So I would love comic books or movies or books or TV shows or whatever. So Secret Level could have been one of those opportunities too.
Mm-hmm.
You still looking it up?
And we are getting a Splinter. Yeah, it's Splinter Cell Death Watch.
Oh, I gotta look that up.
It was teased 3 months ago on Deadline, so it's real. As much as I hate Deadline, that is what it is. We have Schreiber.
Dead Watch? Death Watch.
No, yeah, it's called Dead Watch. Death Watch.
Oh, on Netflix. Okay.
So, we are getting that. So, boop, boop, boop. I really thought that was a good idea. For me, I kind of take me home. Give me a little bit more nostalgia. Mm-hmm. Pac-Man was nice, but what I know a lot of things are already being franchises, so we can't have a Mario, we can't have a Sonic, but there are so many other.
You can't touch Nintendo, period.
Can't touch Nintendo, period. Give me a WWE No Mercy.
An episode, it'll be kind of like watching Heels.
Oh God, that would have been amazing. Bring back Heels. I can't stand Stephen Amell, but bring him back. We didn't ask for another suit, so we asked for Heels. Yeah. But no, there are so many. Give me a jungle version of Atari. Give me Alien Invaders. What's it called? Space Invaders.
Or who's the jungle guy? Wow.
Oh, Crash Bandicoot. No.
For Atari, you're talking Atari.
For Atari.
For Atari, the guy jumping in the jungle, he's jumping over pits and alligators, and he's swinging on vines. Wow. I am old and I can't think of anything.
You are old and I can't know what I'm like. George of the Jungle? That was a great Brandon Fraser movie.
Pitfall.
Oh gosh. What the heck?
I'm mad I couldn't remember that. Yeah, so Pitfall. Okay, this is me just trolling people, but I would think it'd be hilarious to make an episode of Pong, and it's literally just two things just going back and forth, and the ball just.
That would be actually funny.
And that's it. That's all it is.
Would work.
15 minutes of just that.
That actually would work. I know they can't do Street Fighter, but Street Fighter would have been really great. Metal Gear Solid. I don't even know what they can do.
They could talk with those developers. I'm sure they could do something.
Red Dead Redemption. Why the heck do we not even have a series, just period, on Red Dead Redemption?
Yeah.
Red Dead Redemption would have worked out. I know you can't do GoldenEye because that's the Broccoli's. and they're currently fighting. They're fighting with Amazon Prime in hilariousness with Prime Video. So you definitely can't do that. But yeah, Doom.
Doom would be
bring
cool.
back Doom?
Doom would be cool.
Doom would be interesting. I like Doom. The Doom. Quake. Wolfenstein. They made that a series. Remember the TV series? Give me some Wolfenstein. Gran Turismo. No, you can't do Gran Turismo. That's technically a movie series. Well, it's one movie.
Well, it was originally
which was actually very good. It was a game, but then they made it a movie. You didn't see the movie? It was with Orlando Bloom.
Would they not be allowed to make a show because of it now?
I mean, I don't know.
I'm pretty sure
that they can. I mean, yeah, that could technically work. Yeah, I mean, that could work. I know you can't do we need another Poke People. I mean, even Sonic 3 was like Detective Pikachu 2. Where are you? But it would have been cute if we could have gotten like a Pokemon, like a dark
there's
version.
I don't know if you've heard of this game. It's a ripoff of Pokemon. It's called Power World. Have you heard of it at all? So Power World is a complete ripoff, but in the most legal way possible, because you know how like you could legally change things to make it as different as possible to differentiate yourself, and legally you can distribute it. So like this game is Pokemon but with guns. And they're going through a lawsuit right now, by the way, with Nintendo, but that's aside the point. But you could easily do an episode with Power World instead if you had that Pokemon itch.
Oh, see, but I would want like a dark one, like high evolution.
Yeah, Pokemon with guns. You can't get darker than that.
Yeah, but like tortured animals and Pikachu, like Pika, like being like electrocuted. Pika, help me. You know, that kind of thing. Like, give me high evolutionary kind of things, and then they have to fight for their lives, and then they decide to team up and then kill people with the guns. Too far? Too far. Okay. But yeah, like that would have been interesting. What's that one? Simu? The one that SHENMUE? Yes.
For the Dreamcast? Yeah.
That could have worked. Or Roller Coaster Tycoon. Give me Roller Coaster Tycoon. Mix it with some Final Destination in there.
Oh my god, that is probably the best idea, because I picture people living in this artificial world, and they just see like the shop pop up because the player added a shop, and then you could see like the roller coaster being built, and then you could ride the roller coaster, but then the player decides, nope, I'm gonna click that right off, and it just fly off the freaking thing or something.
Yeah.
Oh jeez.
Or it's a roller coaster to hell, and then that's each ride is a different destination to how you get to hell. See, dark.
So, Secret Level Season 2, the paycheck, you can send it to the following address.
Thank you. But was there any other games that you wanted to see that to include?
Man, so you mentioned Metal Gear. Metal Gear would be something great. Helldivers, since Helldivers made a cameo in that last episode, I would love a Helldivers episode as well. That game is a lot of fun, and it's actually very popular right now, so I think that would be really cool. When it comes to anything obscure, I can name a million things like Medieval or Tomba or Ghouls and Goblins, Ghosts and Goblins, one of those games, but I don't know if Nintendo still owns that or not. I'm not too sure. But maybe some RPGs would be really cool. But I don't know. I can go on and on.
Tetris, a psychological thriller about compartmentalizing.
They were supposed to do a movie of that. Can you believe that? I don't know what the hell they were thinking.
There was a documentary. There's a movie?
Yeah, they were supposed. So, geez, this was at the height of, you want to call popularity, because it wasn't popular at all, but this was the height of popularity when they released that Battlefield movie, because Battlefield is based off the Hasbro board game, and Hasbro was going to do more board game movies, and then somebody wanted to jump on the battle wagon and let's do retro games. So they said, let's do a Tetris movie, and nobody knew what this story was going to be about just a bunch of blocks falling from the ceiling. So people were like fascinated and completely confused and just like but I never heard about it. This was like over 10 years ago. So I never heard anything about it since, though.
I know about the Monopoly movie that has to be like 15 years old by now.
Yeah.
But they were going to do a Monopoly, and it was actually like Shakespearean. Like it was really seemed interesting.
That's weird.
But I guess if we can have a movie about emojis, we can have a movie about Tetris blocks falling.
Yeah, but you see how bad Emoji Movie did. I don't think that's a good comparison.
Probably not. Well, we're getting Minecraft, and we know that looks like the next Oscar winner right there.
Mm-hmm.
Jesus. We need more Lego movies. Just by the way, throwing that out there.
Yeah.
But yeah, so if you don't have any other thoughts for any upcoming which you desire and wish for season 2, I guess that's the end of it there.
Mm-hmm.
So, thank you all for listening. If you have any thoughts for what you would like to see for a season 2 of Secret Level, or any ideas of what Secret Level should be instead, maybe you should just focus on a certain console of games, maybe just PC games. Who knows? Let us know. Let us know your thoughts on even season 1, or it's like, oh, this is terrible. We shouldn't even get a season 2. So let us know, and we will be back again talking about something. I'm pretty sure, because this one over there, he loves to talk. So yeah, we will see you later. Have a great day, afternoon, evening, whatever. Bye.